Doctor Who Sleep No More. I'm going to try to make this review as spoiler-free as possible, as the impact of the episode comes from the twist ending. This is our first standalone episode of this season. I was wondering if we were ever going to get one. This wasn't really my first choice for a standalone episode, but whatever, let's talk about it. Actually, I was all ready to come into this review just hating on this episode, talking about how I didn't feel like it was effective in what it was trying to do. But the more I think about it, the more time I give it to kind of simmer in the back of my mind, the more I realize that that's not 100% true. It was effective in some things. I did not find it creepy. I did not think that the creepy atmosphere they were trying to create worked for this episode. And there was also some really bad science in this episode. I understand Doctor Who has a tentative relationship with real science, and that science fiction requires made-up science in order to function, that that's a staple of the genre. But Doctor Who, now, in just the last 2 seasons, has twice used science that is easily debunkable with a middle school education. We had in, I believe the episode was called Kill the Moon, the surprising revelation that the moon is apparently some kind of giant space egg, discounting all of the research we've done on it that proves conclusively otherwise. And here you have the most ridiculous origin for a monster that I've ever heard of, that literally a middle school education in biology disproves this theory that was stated by the doctor of all people. And that just, it took me right out of the episode. I'm sorry it did. However, I do think the episode does do a very good job of coming back from that poor start later on, especially at the twist ending, because you do have these monsters that have a very interesting design. I did find them very creepy and their design very interesting, and overall I really liked these monsters. I just kind of wish that they had debuted in a better episode. And then you had the fact that this was a found footage story, technically speaking. We are looking through head cameras, or at least we think they're head cameras through most of the episode, watching the events after the fact. And when I first saw this, that this was what was happening, I was really bummed out, because the cinematographers working on Doctor Who know countless traditional cinematography techniques to make an episode have a creepy atmosphere. There was no reason for them to experiment with a found footage style. Then, at the end of the episode, during the big twist, it's revealed why it had to be a found footage episode, and it made perfect sense. And again, it erased that bad start that it had. Not completely. I still don't think that the found footage atmosphere was creepy. I don't find found footage creepy in and of itself anyway. And to be fair, this was pretty poor found footage cinematography anyway, so it wasn't great. But it helped. It made it better, made it more palatable, and it made it make sense. In fact, that's something that the end of this episode did really, really well. It made all the deficiencies that the episode had starting out make a lot more sense, and the impact of it was pretty significant. I remember going to bed the following night after watching this episode and genuinely wondering if I'd be able to get to sleep, which was the episode's intention. So overall, not a fantastic episode of the show. I feel like this story would have been a lot stronger in, say, an anthology series rather than an established show with established characters, but definitely not a bad episode either. I place this one a little bit below average for the series, but I still think it's good enough that you should check it out. And I do hope that we see these creatures again, that we get some kind of follow-up to the story, because I mean, they were a very well-designed monster, and I do feel like they have a lot more potential than this episode gives them. But guys, if you have seen this episode, what did you think of it? Let's get a discussion going in the comments section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.